Welcome back to the LEGO Battlebots Losers League. It is round 3, so we'll be seeing 4 bots go 0-3 and already have to win in their final 2 fights in order to even have a chance at surviving. And then we will also see 4 bots make it to 3-0, meaning that they will have survived, and their next 2 fights will basically just be for fun. Kicking things off, we have two of those 0-2 bots, Crypt and Apex. 2 pretty powerful horizontal spinners. Unfortunately, they have not really been able to deliver that energy into their opponents quite effectively. Apex got flipped by Captain Shredder Arrow while Sub-Zero one-shot Crypt in their last match. And there's still pretty big bar spinners. Whoever loses is not in a good position at all here. So let's see who can stave off elimination for a little longer down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Both bots spinning up their quite weighty bar spinners, making contact, and Apex kind of getting pulled on the screws. Crypt doesn't really take advantage of it. They land a shot, but that really didn't do anything. And Apex trying to get back in, trying to get back. Hey, there goes the back part of Apex. Already part of it's exploded off, and Apex is not really off to a good start. Crypt seems to be getting the advantage of most of these exchanges, and so Crypt kind of flies away there, trying to spin up his blade. Ooh, solid shot by Crypt. They're just continuing to hunt down Apex, and they're doing a pretty good job of knocking Apex back, putting their energy into Apex, and really absorbing the shots themselves pretty well. But it looks like the wheel on one side is starting to come off. You can see him. Oh, but there's one of the teeth of Apex's blade. Crypt doesn't seem perfectly healthy, but Apex is really starting to lose it here. This is not looking good for Apex. Oh, there, the wheel of Crypt just falls off. Apex pushes Crypt onto the screws, and that's gonna do it. Unbelievable. Crypt flat on its face now, and Apex coming out of nowhere to take home the victory and advance to 1-2.
Knockout.
Well, from the start of this fight, it looked like Crypt was going to dominate that fight. I mean, Apex was just struggling to really do anything, but Crypt just continued to land shots throughout the fight, and Apex just continued to fall apart and just lose pieces. But Crypt, and at the end, lost a wheel, and that shocked him enough that Apex was able to take advantage and push Crypt into the screws, which flipped them over, and since Crypt could not self-right or drive that way, Apex took the win, leaving Crypt at 0-3 and having to win both of its next fights, while Apex kind of also needs to do the same, but has a tiny bit of a cushion. Next up, we see Extinguisher take on Glitch. 2 more bots at 0-2. Extinguisher and Glitch both got brutalized. Extinguisher by Blue Flame and Glitch by Lunar New Year. So now they're taking each other on, 2 more vertical spinners. That's going to come down to wedges again to see who gets underneath and who flips the other over. Though Glitch, I imagine, has a bit more wiggle room due to the pretty fragile chassis of Extinguisher, but let's see who takes this win down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Both bots come up, and Extinguisher flips Glitch. They are backing off, and this fight is over. Extinguisher taking the free one-shot victory, advancing to 1-2.
Knockout.
All it took was 1 shot, and Glitch was flipped, putting them at 0-3 in a very terrible position. Now we shall see Reron take on Nightmare, 2 bots with sizable vertical spinners, who can't really deliver the weapons quite effectively. Reron got dominated by Arctic Wind, while Nightmare had the unfortunate luck of taking on Biohazard. Now, Nightmare can actually hit the weapon mount on the right side of Reron, which could potentially cause some serious damage, but Reron also could very easily get underneath Nightmare and flip it over. Very interesting fight, and Reron doesn't have a win. Nightmare is 3-10, so it's going to be interesting to see who wins this one down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Ooh, nice knockbacking shot from Ripperoni. Yeah, but oh, now both bots are flipped over. Nightmare is upside down. They can't self-right, but Ripperoni continuing to go on the attack for whatever reason, and they flip Nightmare back. They have lost their wedge now. They are a lot less stable when on the front than they used to be. Nightmare starting to take control, flipping at Ripperoni again, getting underneath that disc. A Nightmare going to attack on the left side. The chassis now trying to do some serious damage and maybe even break Ripperoni's weapon off. That would be huge if Nightmare could pull it off, as Ripperoni is struggling now. They are on the screws for the second time now. And they do get off, but now they're back on their feet, trying to gather themselves, and they just fall over again. Yeah, they've lost a lot of stability, but they flip Nightmare again, and hopefully they've learned their lesson and are backing off. Yes, they are. The countdown has started. Nightmare will fall to 3 and 11 overall, while Ripperoni will finally pick up its first ever win. Ripperoni had in the second shot. Second shot, both bots flipped over. Ripperoni can drive and verge, Nightmare cannot, and for some reason Ripperoni decided to go on the attack again. It didn't work really, as Nightmare was able to actually get underneath Ripperoni's spinner with its own and go on the attack. It was even able to put Ripperoni into screws a couple of times somehow. But Ripperoni eventually found its footing again and was able to flip Nightmare over with a serious shot. And that gives them their first win, but they are absolutely not safe yet. For our final match of 0-2s, we see Black Dragon versus Ice Wave. I'm pretty sure these bots haven't fought, but, well, they're fighting now. Oh, and Black Dragon kind of got dominated Joe's decision by endgame, but it did do some serious damage, while Ice Wave had the unfortunate luck of taking on Bite Force. They pretty obviously lost that fight. And now this is a pretty interesting matchup. I mean, these two bots are kind of at a power level comparable to each other, and they're both have decently capable weapons. Because then Ice Wave could cause some serious damage to Black Dragon. Black Dragon could also tank and maybe get underneath and flip Ice Wave over. It's a very interesting matchup, so let's see how it goes down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Up to an ooh, Ice Wave. He lands the more direct shot with that shot as well. Well, going flying, but getting some nice shots on Black Dragon in the process. Because Black Dragon hasn't really gotten that, needs to get that drum underneath the blades. And that they do. Ice Wave upside down with a brilliant shot from Black Dragon. The perfect shot to flip Ice Wave, and that is gonna be it. Ice Wave falls to 0-3 while Black Dragon gets its first win of the tournament. Ice Wave, I'd say, was getting the better of most of the early exchanges. I guess all the early exchanges he's going to find, but dealing a ton of energy into Black Dragon. Black Dragon got the perfect shot to flip Ice Wave over and end the fight. We're now moving into the 1-1s, where bots only need 2 more wins to survive. Kicking those fights off, we see Sub-Zero versus Captain Shredderator. As we told you earlier, Captain Shredder flipped Apex, Sub-Zero flipped Crypt pretty easily, and another interesting fight with both bots being able to exploit each other's weaknesses. Captain Shredder can't self-right, obviously. Sub-Zero pretty easily flip him, but Captain Shredder could also tear Sub-Zero apart. Let's see who's able to get the advantage down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Captain Shredder spins up and already ripping a piece off of Sub-Zero's wedge. Not a good start for Sub-Zero as they take another hard shot, but now they pin Captain Shredder in the corner and flip them over. And now they're trying to get Captain Shredder into the pit, and they do. Sub-Zero started off taking some brutal damage, but they executed the game plan perfectly, sacrificing advantage in those early shots, nor for the long game to pin Captain Shredder into the corner, where they flipped them over, and after that, they just took Shredder to the pit and flipped it in for the victory. Next up is Blue Flame versus Lunar New Year. We saw Glitch and Extinguisher go over in one shot, and this might end up the same. Blue Flame could flip Lunar New Year, and Lunar New Year cannot self-right, but Lunar New Year could also get underneath and land some devastating shots to Blue Flame, which is the significant possibility. It's all going to come down to ground game, because whoever wins those early exchanges is probably going to rip off the other's wedge, and the fight will just deteriorate for that bot from there. So let's see what happens down in the arena. Let the bot battle begin. And Lunar New Year is the bot who gets underneath and manages to flip Blue Flame. Blue Flame not getting knocked back, but that wedge is still very much attached. They do self-right using the screws. And there's a brutal shot from Lunar New Year. Blue Flame playing on his face. They can't drive from there. Lunar New Year trying to go in on another attack, but they realize that Blue Flame can't get down. And so they are backing off and now taking the win, advancing to 2-1, and only need one more win to survive.
Knockout.
Lunar New Year got the early advantage, flipped Blue Flame, and eventually just gum stuck against the wall for the easy knockout. Next up, Arctic Wind versus Biohazard. Arctic Wind is able to actually get a second win under its belt, taking the knockout over Reron, while Biohazard was able to just deflect Nightmare until it won. Arctic Wind obviously has the wedge advantage here, while Biohazard does not, but Arctic Wind is also a lot more top-heavy than Biohazard, while Biohazard is incredibly just low to the ground, just overall. So it's going to be interesting to see if Arctic Wind can properly utilize that wedge and land some serious shots with that vertical spinner. Let's find out down in the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Arctic Wind trying to get that wedge underneath, but there's just too high off the ground. They're not putting enough force on the wedge. Oh, now they got underneath, really got underneath Biohazard and flip them over, but face plant themselves in the process. Biohazard able to escape, and now just trying to get Arctic Wind into the pit, and that is the fight for Arctic Wind. They struggled, then got underneath. And when they flipped Biohazard, they flipped themselves in the process, and Biohazard escaped and capitalized, throwing Arctic Wind into the pit. It is now time for the final fight of this round of the losers side of the tournament. Endgame versus Bite Force. In real life now, especially, this would be a dream matchup. But these two bots are not doing great now. Endgame coming off, but they're both coming off of pretty good performances. Endgame over Black Dragon, Bite Force over Ice Wave. Question is, who's gonna win? Endgame, I'd say, is probably lower, but doesn't have very durable wedges. But neither does Bite Force, and Bite Force also can't self-right. So it's very fascinating to see who's gonna take advantage in the ground game. So let's find out down in the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Endgame getting underneath Bite Force, but Bite Force wasn't really playing for the ground game. They're looking for more reliability, but they're still getting outwedged by Endgame, and they are upside down. Endgame could end this fight now if they just back off, but they're continuing to go on the attack, and what a shot there, throwing the former champ into the screws. Endgame has lost just one side of their forks, but they're still getting underneath Bite Force. But they lost a valuable opportunity to just back off and get the win, and Bite Force is making them pay for it, starting to make them pay for it now, as they are beginning to get underneath. That Endgame is 1-4. Oh! Now it has no forks left, and Bite Force is gonna be in complete control. They are stable enough not to flip themselves over in this scenario, and Endgame is now in a terrible position. Bite Force now really starting to deliver that weapon into Endgame now that all the forks are gone. And what a shot there. Bite Force looking to throw Endgame out of the arena, and they do. At the start of this fight, Endgame was very dominant. They were getting underneath Blue Flame. Bite Force, not Blue Flame. What am I saying? Very easily. And they were even able to flip Bite Force over, but they decided to go on the attack rather than actually and take the win there. And while it did lead to a beautiful shot to throw Bite Force and jam them in the screws, it did not work out in the end. Endgame's wedges eventually fell off or ripped off in the case of the left side, and Bite Force dominated from there and eventually threw Endgame out of the arena. The former champ is one win away from surviving. We now move on to the loser side of this round, where we first see J-Dragon versus Stalone. Both bots losing their past 2 fights. J-Dragon got mauled by Talon, while Stalone got outplayed a little bit by unnecessary violence. And so J-Dragon does have that lifter, but Stalone is a very tough bot. I imagine he's going to be pretty easily able to deflect that spinner, and actually its wedge is pretty good enough for this scenario. But we'll see if J-Dragon can find a way around that down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. J-Dragon deflecting off of Stalone's wedge, but able to stay right side up, with Stalone staying right on top of them, and now trying to get them into the pit. But that's a terrible position for J-Dragon, but they're not quite in. They do have some time to try and escape, but if they can't get out, a countdown will commence, and this does not appear like they are able to. Stalone trying to continue to attack, but now... And the countdown has started. J-Dragon still trying to get out, but it is not working. And oh, J-Dragon able to escape with only 4 seconds left on the count, but Stalone goes right back on the attack and immediately puts them in the pits. Well, things did not go well for J-Dragon from start to finish. Stalone completely dominated, got them hung up on the pit wall where they were almost counted out, but they were able to escape. And then Stalone immediately threw them into the pit for a quite convincing victory to go to 2-1. Next up, we see an IRL rematch, Menor versus Witch Doctor. Both bots got kind of mauled in their last fight. Menor got beaten up by Thunderbolt, while Witch Doctor blew itself up against the other glitch. I mean, they weren't even doing too bad until they literally exploded. I was going to come out and see if Menor's drum is going to be able to do enough damage to Witch Doctor to break apart, or if Witch Doctor will be able to survive long enough for Menor's drum to break apart, or maybe get underneath and push it. Let's find out down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Both bots spam their drums, and Witch Doctor able to use that big wedge to get underneath and actually able to flip Menor over. Now, Menor doesn't really care about being flipped over. There goes some armor off of Witch Doctor. But it's still nice that Witch Doctor does have the weapon power to be able to do that. There goes a part of the things that keep Menor's drum off the ground. There goes the other part on that side. Menor flips. They'll be able to get their drum back into play, but right now they are defenseless. And Witch Doctor continuing to go on the attack, ripping off some side armor at
10, 9, 8,
you
7, 6, 5,
again.
4,
Really?
3, 2,
Second time
1, knockout.
Well, anyways, Witch Doctor was actually doing pretty well for itself to start. Its wedge was getting underneath Menor, and it even managed to flip him over, and it was in a very good position, able to remove the parts that keep Menor's drum off the ground, and leaving the Menor defenseless, and even able to rip off some more armor after that. But immediately after, Witch Doctor blew up for the second time in 2 straight fights. Next, we got an interesting one, Sunflower versus Retrograde. One bot's all about the weapon, one bot's all about control, and neither of them were really able to do that in their previous fight. Sunflower got flipped in a single shot by Jackpot, while Retrograde got completely dominated by Hypershock. Very fascinating, very different bots, so let's see how these two interact down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Sunflower deflecting off of Retrograde's lifter. It looks like they're keeping that lifter in front to protect the forks and the chassis, but Sunflower lands a nice shot, a juicy shot to the side, and now has completely removed the back half of the row up in front, but it looks like Friction's still keeping it in place, but not anymore. Sunflower continuing to attack the corp for some reason, and I think that is definitely enough to get a knockout indeed. The countdown has started, Retrograde is in pieces, and Sunflower will be moving to 2 and 1 on the competition.
1. Knockout.
Well, that weapon kind of bounced off of Retrograde a couple times, but it didn't really bounce, it just stopped, and that energy did seriously take its toll on Retrograde's chassis as they did split in half, and Sunflower then finished them off. For our final battle between 1 and 1's, Deep Six takes on Red Blow. I'm just gonna put it out here. Red Blow's entire thing is outlasting bots. Deep Six's entire thing is quick knockouts, but it's generally not good at those. Its fights are usually some of the longer fights. So yeah, Red Blow is pretty well set up to win this fight, but Red Blow did kind of get beat very quickly by Bombshell in their last fight, so if Deep Six can find a miracle shot, they could get an upset in this one. So let's see if they can down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Deep Six spins up that mighty bar and lands an okay shot on Red Blow, and another one. Now Deep Six actually out-wedging Red Blow, and they do have the lower wedge, and Red Blow is now in the screws. Deep Six trying to take advantage with that spinner, but that's not quite working properly. Okay, Red Blow is able to escape the screws, and Deep Six trying to land another attack. And now getting Red Blow onto the screws again. Great control job from Deep Six early on, but that wedge of Red Blow is holding up for the moment at least. And now Red Blow got flipped, but Deep Six was unable to capitalize on that. And now Red Blow is turned to get underneath as the pulverizer drops, unable to remove Deep Six's wedge. And now Red Blow trying to get Deep Six into the pit. As we saw them get kind of stuck there in that position in their last fight against Fossilize, but they are able to escape pretty quickly here and land a counterattack onto Red Blow, but they're still perfectly fine. And another shot there is a piece of Red Blow's wedge, and now Red Blow does get flipped there, but able to self-right. Deep Six flips Red Blow again, but now Red Blow, oh! Deep Six had a great angle to do some serious damage on Red Blow, but their weapon wasn't low enough to land the shot, though they have done more damage to Red Blow's wedge. Deep Six continuing to go on the attack, putting Red Blow into the screws for a third, maybe fourth time, depending on if you count that. Oh, and now they flip Red Blow again. They lose the wedge, but they do land a solid shot to the side of the process and another brutal uppercut. But now they are wedgeless, and Red Blow is basically perfectly intact, and they are trying to finish this here. And that is, I think that's gonna count.
Knockout.
Yep, that is indeed a pitting. Deep Six did surprisingly well in this fight. It didn't simply implode on itself like it did in its last fight. And Deep Six was able to dominate most of the early stretch. I mean, this is the only early attack that Red Blow got. And Deep Six was able to land some decent draw and some decent shots there, but their weapon, they just couldn't deliver it into the proper spots like you hear. It just smacks into the back. It doesn't actually get underneath and try and rip it up. But here is where they lost their wedge, and once Red Blow got up from that, which it very easily did because Deep Six really didn't do any meaningful damage, it was over for Deep Six, as Red Blow was able to put them into the pit, go to 2 and 1, and put Deep Six at 1 and 2. Now we head into the 2 and 0s. The winners of these next 4 fights will all survive no matter what happens in their final 2 fights. And our first one is Talon versus Unnecessary Violence. Talon certainly, I would say, has the design advantage here, having cheese slope wedges, while Unnecessary Violence, those forks are not well attached, and they're not incredibly low to the ground either, so it's gonna have to try and lean on that weapon to try and outlast Talon's forks, because Talon's forks aren't very durable in themselves. They're gonna have to definitely lean on the weapon, while Talon definitely wants to get underneath and end this fight quickly. But let's see who will get their strategy executed down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Whoever wins this fight will be the first to survive, and Talon has already lost half of its forks. Not a good start for Talon here. Their defenses are already weakening, but they tear off one of Unnecessary Violence's forks, and this is coming. Even its wedges are breaking down incredibly rapidly here as both spinners try and get some serious damage output. So I'd say Talon still has the advantage. They still have cheese up wedges and they're on the correct side, but Unnecessary Violence flips Talon over. What a shot! What a follow-up! And Unnecessary Violence could end this fight here, but instead they're choosing to go on the attack. Why? I have no idea why they're doing this, but they are making some really juicy hits. They're trying to rip Talon in half, it seems, and now Talon is back right side up, but has no forks. Unnecessary Violence immediately flips them again, and what a shot there. And this looks like it's going to be the end of the line for Talon, and there it is. They have been torn in half. Unnecessary Violence defeating the allegations. They are the first bot to go 3-0 and therefore are the first bot to survive.
Knockout.
The wedges of these bots deteriorated a lot more quickly than I was expecting. Half of Talon's wedges getting blown off in the first exchange certainly helped, but Talon was able to fire back, ripping off the correct fork of Unnecessary Violence, and they were able to keep them at bay a little bit longer, but eventually UV slipped underneath and flipped Talon over where they land that absolutely beautiful shot, Talon doing a pirouette in midair. Though Talon was flipped, UV continued to go on the attack, flip Talon back, and then immediately flipped them over and tore them apart for the win and the survival. Here it is, folks, the fight you wanted to see. Thunderbolt versus the other glitch. If the other glitch wins, not only will they survive, but they will also become the true glitch. And the bot that is currently named Glitch will change their name to Glitched Out. And they really have the design advantage in this one. A cheese slope wedge and very low to the ground chassis. Thunderbolt is really going to have to rely on the other glitch to make a mistake, because there is not a lot of room for error, but there are those corners. You can see the studs, the purple studs on the front and on the sides of the other glitch that Thunderbolt could very well exploit. Let's see if we're able to do that, or if the other glitch will be able to claim their name down in the arena. Let the quasi-main event begin. The other glitch immediately ripping the tip off Thunderbolt's flipper and going on a very aggressive approach to this fight, flipping Thunderbolt over and flipping them immediately back with a more gentle shot. Thunderbolt needs to get around to the sides of the other glitch, but the other glitch not letting them, and that is gonna do it. Oh my goodness, what a finishing blow, and the other glitch has done it. The countdown has started. Thunderbolt is in pieces. The fight is over, and I present to you Glitch. Glitch, as it shall now be known from now on, completely dominated that fight, going right on the offensive. Thunderbolt could not do anything to slow them down whatsoever. Glitch eventually ripped Thunderbolt's, power Thunderbolt's chassis off the back connecting plate, and then blew them apart. For our penultimate match of the round, we have a fascinating fight between Jackpot and Hypershock. Jackpot taking obviously the one-shot win over Sunflower, while Hypershock completely destroying Retrograde, and either bot could really win this fight. It depends on which wedge is lower, which could be either of them, and both weapons do have a decent amount of power, but I'd say Hypershock's reliability and just its sheer sturdiness of that frame is going to be a huge help in surviving Jackpots if Jackpot does land hits. And if it does get underneath Jackpot, Hypershock could pretty easily break Jackpot apart. So let's see if it can do that, or if Jackpot can get underneath and destroy Hypershock down in the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Jackpot gets underneath and rips off Hypershock's wedge. Not a good start for Hypershock, as they're now inverted. We have seen this before in Hypershock's fight against Riptide. Now Hypershock was able to come back eventually, but that took a grueling effort. Jackpot now has Hypershock in the screws, and this is not looking good for Hypershock's hill. And a nice follow-up shot from that vertical spinner of Jackpot. Hypershock just continuing to go face to face with Jackpot, though. They know they can take the hits. They're flipped over now. and now right themselves using Jackpot, but now their weapon is broken. And Hypershock, oh, what a shot by Jackpot there, and a follow-up to remove the rest of the weapon, but Jackpot's wedge comes off as well, and this fight is suddenly entered a whole new phase. Is Hypershock leaning on their durability to survive the hits until Jackpot broke down, and that is paying off for them right now. As both bots have lost their wedge, making it a lot more difficult for Jackpot to land some serious shots, but there they go, and back and forth with engagements between the two, so now Hypershock is eating the shots. They know they're more durable than Jackpot, but can they get it? They get Jackpot in the screws and on their face. History repeats itself as Hypershock, after taking a beating in the early stages of the fight, it flips Jackpot over and ends the match. Jackpot got off to an amazing start. Like, you could not have asked for a better start than this. Because they got the wedge right off of Hypershock, put them in the screws a couple of times. I mean, that was more Hypershock putting itself in the screws. They also broke Hypershock's weapon and landed some serious shots, just showcasing how powerful that weapon can truly be. I don't think we've really seen Jackpot showcase this much power in that weapon, but even so, this was not Jackpot's fight to win. At least that's what Hypershock said, as they just ate the shots, and just like their fight with Riptide, Jackpot's wedge came off, and from there, Hypershock was able to just absorb any meager blows that Jackpot could land, and eventually get them into the screws and flip them over. Hypershock moves to 3-0 and survives, while Jackpot falls to 2-1. For our final fight of the round, we have Bombshell and Fossilize battling it out. Now, Bombshell can't self-right, which is a problem when it's going up against a control bot as effective as Fossilize is, but that is a very powerful spinner on Bombshell, which could pretty easily rip off the rather fragile forks of Fossilize. But again, just like every other fight pretty much, is going to come down to who gets underneath. If Fossilize can get underneath, it can get Bombshell into the screws quickly and end the fight. But if Bombshell gets underneath, it could weaken Fossilize and just rip off those forks over time, which could lead to a Bombshell victory. Let's find out who survives down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Bombshell actually getting underneath Fossilize on the first shot and gets underneath on the second, but unable to rip any forks off. Now Fossilize gets underneath, clamps that jaw down, puts Bombshell in the screws and flips them over, backing away and taking the quick victory. Though there were some troubles, they take the win and move to 3-0 and therefore survive.
Knockout.
Bombshell got underneath in the first couple of shots, but couldn't do any damage to Fossilize, who got underneath on his third shot and flipped Bombshell over by putting them in the screws for the win, the knockout, and the 3-0 record.